Hello student, welcome to the lecture number 21 in the petrochemical technology. Here we will come to know about the solvent extraction process for kerosene. So this kerosene solvent extraction process is also similar to the other uh, product extraction using the solvent. So why we separate the kerosene from solvent extraction process, we will come to know in more detail. The solvent extraction process for kerosene involves the separation of desired hydrocarbon such as kerosene. So, kerosene is desired. So from a mixture that is obtained from distillation of the crude oil that contains kerosene and other mixtures, or from other refining techniques, the heavier component of the crude oil that contains the mixture of the kerosene. So we separate the kerosene and we separate the impurity. We remove the impurity out of the mixture of the liquid. So from a mixture typically obtained from crude oil refining or using a selective solvent. So we have again the selection of the solvent that has high affinity towards the kerosene. So this method is utilized to produce high quality kerosene by removing impurity and undesirable compound. So here is an overview of the solvent extraction process for kerosene. First we will select the feedstock. So feedstock for kerosene production comes from the distillation of the crude oil, which produces a mixture of hydrocarbon with varying boiling points from the distillation column. So once the feedstock is selected, then it is important to select the solvent. This for the solvent, the is chosen based on the its ability to selectively dissolve the desired hydrocarbon. Kerosene means solvent that can dissolve into itself a kerosene product and while leaving behind the other compound. Other compound which are impurities, they can be left behind. So such as heavier hydrocarbon and impurities. So commonly solvent in this process that is used is phenol. So phenol is one of the important solvent that is used into the solvent extraction process of the kerosene. And another chemical that we are using is furfural or various properties solvent blend. So once we have selected the solvent, the another process is the extraction process. The crude oil fraction containing kerosene is mixed or contacted with the chosen solvent in the extraction unit. So once they are in contact with the solvent into the extraction unit, the solvent selectively dissolve the kerosene molecule while allowing the unwanted compound to remain or undissolved into the solvent or minimally dissolved. Either it is not dissolved or some extent it is dissolved. So which is the some extent it is dissolved, this will be separated during the solvent purification process. So after the extraction process, there is a separation process. So after mixing the phase, the solvent containing the dissolved kerosene is separated from the solvent depleted feedstock. So this process is typically achieved using settling tanks or separation method that leverage the differences in the density between the solvent kerosene mixture and remaining feedstock. So solvent recovery. So further after we have separated the kerosene and the impurity, but there is a solvent that where the impurities are dissolved, or in the solvent the kerosene is dissolved. So kerosene has to be separated from the solvent into the next process, that is solvent recovery. So solvent rich phase containing the dissolved kerosene is separated from the solvent and then process to recover the kerosene. So into this process we recover the pure kerosene that is desired. So this involves the separation of kerosene from the solvent, often distillation or other separation technique. So the recovered solvent is usually recycled back into the extraction process to minimize the waste or cost. So after the kerosene is separated, the solvent that we have used, that is again recycled so that you can use it into the next uh, solvent extraction process of the kerosene. Then further processing, see, the another step is further processing. That is the final step. The extracted kerosene may undergo additional refining steps such as hydrotreating, distillation to remove any other remaining impurity, and adjust some of its property according to the specific requirement for the end use application, like aviation fuel, heating oil. For heating oil there is a different specification, and for aviation fuel there is a different specification. So based on this specification, these kerosene that is recovered from the solvent extraction process is further processed into the hydrotreating or distillation column for the improving its further quality. So the solvent extraction process for kerosene helps to produce high quality product by selectively removing specific hydrocarbon and impurities, and the choice of solvent process parameters, efficient solvent recovery methods are critical factors for effectiveness and efficiency of extraction process. So additionally, the safety measurement and environmental consideration are essential during the solvent handling and disposal to minimize the environmental impact. So whatever is the hazardous component which are impacting on the environment and which are very hazardous for our environment and surrounding, so these impurities must be recovered for the safety process and environmental consideration. So this was all a brief information about the solvent extraction process of kerosene from the mixture into the refinery. uh, the next topic we will continue into the another lecture. Thank you.